The April 25th, 2011 meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Esposito. Here. Mr. Hanna. Here. Chairman Holland.
Here.
Mr. Monroe. Here. Mr. McCann.
Here. Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
No, sir.
Is there anyone present who is not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the February 14th, 2011 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Mr. Clerk?
Referral 11-107, authorize a contract.
Moved by Legislator Hanna, seconded by Legislator McCann. I understand that Mr. Peterson, the president of the Greater Rochester Enterprise, is here today. I would ask that he give us a quick annual report. We won't ring you at 2 minutes, though.
You won't? Okay, well, that's okay. I will only need 2 minutes, if not less than that. 2010 accomplishments very quickly have showed strong performance despite a challenging economic climate. Many of you have read about the three-company package, Intrinsic Materials, Quintel, and Omni ID, that will be moving fairly quickly into the former Building 320 in Eastman Business Park. They are moving along very well now. We announced that last June, but now we're just starting to see the jobs created. Many of you have heard about the work with Natcor Technologies, a new solar company locating in Eastman Business Park as well. Also, not as broadly known in general knowledge, but is the project for Federal Express in Chile. That hasn't gone broadly public yet, but that will be happening. So all totaled, we're getting more projects. We're seeing more projects flow through our operation than we've seen in a long time. The good news is some of the projects that went on hiatus over the last couple of years because of the recession are now back. We're working 15 active projects right now with a potential investment of $654 million and over 3,900 new jobs. So while we won't secure all of those projects successfully, there is really good deal flow. We're seeing a lot of success, and we're getting to close on a number of projects as well. So we're confident. We're excited about what's happening. We appreciate very much the support of our partners like Judy Sile and her group in economic development for the county, and especially for the County Leg's financial support, which allows us to market the assets of the region all over the country. I'll take any questions if you have any.
Legislator Esposito.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Peterson, for coming in. As prospective projects or deals come before you and the volume changes, how do you handle it on your end in terms of staffing and allocation of resources from within GRE?
Well, at this point, we've been able to make those adjustments. I mean, we have done some reorganization of staff in order to have enough business development people on staff, and so far we've been able to do that. But to be fair, the team works pretty long hours and a lot of connectivity in order to keep up with everything that's moving through us. You know, that's good news. That's a high-class problem to have at this point. But the volume of projects that we are actively working is probably double to what it was 2 years ago, with no increase in staff. And so we're doing what a lot of small businesses and a lot of all of you are doing. We're just pedaling faster.
And if we're fortunate enough to, let's say, double again, you go from 15 potential deals to 30 potential deals, and you're just completely outmanned, and we're doing ourselves and our region a disservice not having enough people. Do you then have to go to your board and your sponsors to request additional funding or permission to hire? How does that work?
Yeah, you know, it's my responsibility to put forward a complete budget, and we would make adjustments. But I certainly, if we're having that much deal flow, I will certainly go back to the board. We're already forming new board committees around development and fundraising in order to try and secure some additional dollars in order to be able to consider bringing on additional business development staff. We're able to keep up with the deal flow, what's going on, what's going actively. I'd like to be doing more proactive chasing of potential deals that aren't in the pipeline right now. We've been proactive for a long time. We're now moving into being a little more reactive than I'd like, so we're going to monitor that situation very carefully.
And finally, I guess,
Excuse me, Legislator Esposito, please refer your questions to the chair.
of course, my apologies, Mr. Chairman, through you to Mr. Peterson. The county's contribution as a sponsor has remained level for several years now. Is that commensurate with other sponsors, just public and private? Is it typically something that's been similar, or has there been increases in any of your sponsorships?
There has been these increases in our private sector sponsors. Monroe County is the most generous supporter from a county standpoint. We have good support from Wayne County, Livingston, and several other counties. Some of the counties are far too small to have any real resources, but we still include them in the operation as a regional organization that we provide. But Monroe County's been the most generous county. We have had success in the private sector with increases from major corporations like Constellation Brands. Wegmans came in as a new investor several years ago. Bausch & Lomb is back at a full $50,000 board level seat. So we are getting good support, largely as related to the fact that we've had some success, and I think people believe that what we're doing, the work we're doing is working.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any other questions? Legislator McCann.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Peterson, thank you for coming here tonight, and it's very reassuring to hear the success that you're having, and we wish you continued success in your endeavors. One question I have is, through the chair, I had the opportunity in 2004 to be part of a trade mission that GRE sent to Israel, which had some limited success. I think there were a couple of small businesses that came here. Are you looking at doing anything like that, or is most of your effort going to be focused on possible deals with companies that are already in the United States?
Most of them are focused in the United States. We currently, and the trade mission concept, well, that was a large initiative and made good sense at the time. We're much more targeted now. We do have one of our associates that's spending a lot of time in Toronto right now working in the IT and software industry, where we believe there are great opportunities. We've already seen some success there. And also, we've had a number of, one of our associates has almost every year the last couple of years has traveled to Europe, Germany this year, in order to assess our opportunities in the solar and the energy innovation space. So we're being very targeted about that. We used to do a lot more trade shows and a lot more of that activity. We didn't find that producing as many good projects that we could bring jobs to the region, so we've changed that approach a little bit. It's much more direct, it's much more relationship-based, and we're tracking the money, to be honest with you, too. We're doing a lot more with venture firms. If a venture firm owns a company and tells them to take a serious look at the greater Rochester region, that gives us a leg up rather than just going to the company directly.
Okay. Thank you. And if I could ask one more question through you, Mr. Chairman. Maybe Legislator Esposito had asked you this and I missed the answer. How big is the staff that you have that you're working with?
We have 10 on staff,
Okay.
and of which 2 are support staff. One is the executive director of the International Business Council, which falls under our arm as well, and the rest are either our director of marketing or our business development team. So there's probably 4 or 5 of us that are pretty active working projects on a regular basis, and you know, projects are pretty detailed. There's a lot to them, so it's a good number. I'd love to have more staff, just like everybody.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any more questions for President Peterson? If not, thank you very much. It was very interesting. I enjoyed the information. Thank you for the good job you're doing. Is there any other discussion? There being none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed? The item passes. Is there any other matters to come before the committee today? There being no further business, the April 25th, 2011 meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee is scheduled for May 23rd, 2011.